Hey guys, this is Russ and Gabby, and this is SheWolfAlchemy. And today we're talking about the concept of the cool girl. Now, first, just as a reminder, guys, Ashley is out. She is out on maternity. She is actually due to give birth in a couple weeks. We're very, very excited for her. So, with that being said, I am going to be having a couple other people, some of my close, dearest friends that are jumping on the podcast with me for the time being. Today, we have my good friend, my homegirl, Gabby. Ooh, we met in actually the weirdest way. Yeah,
We
some of y'all
did.
don't know this. I was supposed to go to Howard and I didn't. And I met Gabby because Gabby was supposed to be my roommate at Howard. I ain't gonna get into
Mhm.
the details of it. I know how protective our community is of HBCUs, but they was playing. They was playing in my face. So, and I don't like when people play in my face. I don't like when people play with my money. And so me and Gabby were in two different areas of the country. And we were on Howard had like a roommate mattress site. I don't know if they still have it. And
Mhm.
we were like matched with each other and we talked and we were going to be roommates. We were getting our flights ready. We were like going down, like, okay, we're going to find housing because we were grad students at the time and everything. But Howard kept playing in my face and Gabby was like, no, we going to pursue. And I was like, no, no, we not. I'm going to
You
get,
jump ship. You jump
I
ship.
jumped shit real quick. I had three other schools I got accepted to. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with the schools that are calling me back and telling me where my money is. So but you had an amazing experience. And I'd actually definitely
I
many
did.
times I look back, I'm like, I should just stuck through. Went to Howard. But like that's how we ended up meeting. We just
HBCUs.
kept in touch.
We did. Been
We
friends ever since.
we've been friends ever since. And it's crazy because like the first what 2 years of our friendship, we never met each other in
Never
person.
hung out. Talk to
We
you all the time.
all the time. All the time. But so Gabby is gonna be one of my co-hosts with me along with Neek. And today we are talking about again the cool girl. And I wanted to first take a excerpt from the movie Gone Girl. I don't want to assume all of y'all have read it. So I'm just gonna read a little bit because I think Amy in the movie Gone Girl makes such an excellent point. She's one of my favorite people in the world. I love Amy from Gone Girl. I personally she's right up there with Nelson Mandela for me. Um, but I'm gonna take from her monologue, The Gone Girl, right? And so the monologue starts off with men always say that as a defining compliment, don't they? She's a cool girl. Being a cool girl means I'm hot, brilliant, funny woman who adores football, poker, dirty jokes, burping, who plays video games, drinks cheap beer, loves threesomes and anal, and jams hot dogs and hamburgers in her mouth like she's hosting the world's biggest culinary gangbang while somehow maintaining a size two. Because cool girls are above all hot. Hot and understanding. Cool girls get angry, they only smile in a charging, loving manner, and let their men do whatever they want. Go ahead, shit on me. I don't mind. I'm the cool girl. Men think this girl exists. Maybe they're fooled because so many women are willing to pretend to be this girl. For a long time, cool girl offended me. I used to see men, friends, coworkers, strangers, giddy over these awful pretender women. And I want to sit these men down and calmly say, you're not dating a woman. You're dating a woman who has watched too many movies written by socially awkward men who like to believe that this kind of woman exists and might kiss them. I want to grab my poor guy by his lapels or messenger bag and say, the bitch doesn't really love chili dogs that much. No one loves chili dogs that much. And the cool girls are even more pathetic. They're not even pretending to be the women they want to be. They're pretending to be the woman a man wants them to be. Oh, and if you're not a cool girl, I beg you not to believe that your man doesn't want the cool girl. It might be a slightly different version. Maybe he's a vegetarian, so the cool girl loves satine and is great with dogs. Or maybe he's a hipster artist, so cool girl is tatted, bespectacled nerd who loves comics. There are variations to the window dressing. And believe me, he wants cool girl, who is basically the girl who likes every fucking thing he likes and doesn't ever complain. How do you know you're not cool girl? Because he says things like, I like strong women. If he says that to you, he will at some point fuck someone else because I like strong women is code for I hate strong women.
It's so deep.
Yeah. And the reason I wanted to bring this up because I think that is like definitely a thing in our culture. There's this belief
Mhm.
that, okay, men want this certain type of woman. And if I become this certain type of woman, then I will have more options with men. and I will be more
Very true.
lovable. I'll be more pickable. And the thing of it is, one, like she said, I don't, this woman really doesn't exist. It is, how do I ignore all the things that I am feeling as a woman to make sure he is pleased with me? And what type of fucking being is that?
When I think about this quote and I think about that script that you read, it made me think like, hmm, as women, do we always give up a part of ourselves for the man that we want? Will
Mm,
we will we be the can we be ourselves, or do we have to be the cool girl just to fit into basically their views or of what they want? And I think when it comes to being in relationships or trying to be the cool girl in relationships, at some point you are dissatisfied and you end up like almost fighting back, like trying to
mm.
get that part of yourself out. And how do you exert yourself when you can't even be yourself? Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I feel like in my younger years, I definitely tried a little bit. I want to say
Mhm,
more so when I was a teen, early 20s. I definitely, and it wasn't, I'll say it this way, I don't even think it was necessarily like I was dating a particular person. I try to more form myself into them. It was, again, I've talked about this on the show. Like I grew up, there was a point in my life I had seven boys in the house and I called them all my brothers. They were, some of them were my brothers, but some were like my cousins, some were like family friends who I've known my whole life. And so I grew up with a lot of boys. And so I think morphing myself more so I could fit in with the boys in general because I was the only
mhm.
girl. And so I was like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm rough. Yes, drop me off at this 28-year-old woman's house to fight her and I'm 13. That's the type of shenanigans that were going on. And so I definitely think in my in my later teens, early 20s, I still had some of that in. And it wasn't so much like, oh, I'm dating this person, I'm trying to be them. It was more so like I was used to hanging with the guys. And so there was some
Mhm,
things that just me as a woman, I was just like, yeah, bro, that's how men think. It's okay. Blah, blah,
mhm,
blah, blah. And you're right, you get to a point that you resent it and you kind of
mhm,
have to kind of buck back. And I remember going through this, actually, it was with a male friend. We never dated or anything like that, but I was just growing more into myself and knowing myself and learning myself. And I remember, I can't tell you exactly what the conversation was, but I had gave him a different opinion, I guess, than what he was expecting of me. And he was just like, "What? That's not you. You know, you that's why I brought this topic up. You a safe person to have this topic with." And I was like, "What?" And like me and him having this conversation like really did something to my brain because I was like, "Oh, you think I am a safe place for you to be an asshole towards women.
mhm.
That is not the woman I want to be. Oh, you got me." And I was like 20. I was, "Oh, you got,"
Yeah.
because I was still at UC. I just moved to my first apartment. And I remember being like, oh, you got me all the way fucked up. Okay, there needs to be a change now because kind of going back to what we are saying, you start to realize also being a cool girl does not protect you.
It does not. You are the most vulnerable when you are the cool girl. And like, it's interesting you say that. So, I'm an only child on my mom's
Mhm.
side, but on my dad's side, I do have a brother and I was raised with all boys. So growing up, I realized I was just too fucking nice. Like, I let guys literally, even stuff that I knew that wasn't okay, I just be like, okay. And that's not okay because at the end of the day, I'm sacrificing a little bit of myself and my feelings for the protection of you. And why when you wouldn't even do the same for me?
Mhm.
And I think it's interesting because in my 20s, I think that's when I learned a lot of my lessons when it came to dating. In
Mhm.
these 30s, don't play with me. 'Cause I will come for you. I will end you. And now it's interesting because when I do date, guys struggle if I do like them or not because I'm very nonchalant.
Mhm.
And it's to the point now, like I am nonchalant, but you just got to get to know me. Once I kind of break that barrier and I kind of feel comfortable with you, I'll talk to you. We can have a conversation. And I'm super goofy and I take nothing serious. That's my problem now. I'm goofy and I know that. So and I play a lot. But I realized in my 20s I wasn't able to truly be myself or truly exert that because I mean nobody wants a goofy girl. Like I gotta like what you like. I remember one of my exes, I used to go to car shows with him. I don't even like cars like that. Like I'm not even but he is the first guy who taught me how to drive a stick shift, so I'm thankful for that. But I literally would who goes to car shows every weekend? Me.
Wait,
And here I am.
can I say briefly, because you just remind me of this? I love Kings of Leon. They're one of my favorite bands. I say that I have not listened to their latest album. I need to catch up on that. But they have this one song. In the song, he talks about like being seeing a girl, and it's a guy. He's talking about seeing a girl and like just being so struck in awe by her and wanting to impress her. And there's a point in his lyrics where he goes, "You got me showing off my cars, girl. I don't even drive." It just reminds me of it's like my favorite part of the song because I'm like, man, is that not what it feels like to be in love in your early 20s? Like,
You're like, okay, like you're like, all right, I don't mind. It's okay. Like, no, it's not okay. I wish I had a more of my bite back now, back in my 20s, because I'll probably be married by now. Who knows? I don't know. But I do believe things is meant to happen in the order they meant to happen in. So it's all good. You live, you learn, right? I
but
definitely learned and I lived. So
you know what? I would say by like 21, I had a lot of and I feel like that's the stuff that protects you
I agree.
because look, I've been proposed to more than once. And sometimes I
Me
think
never.
about like if I went and have said yes, what my life, and I'm like, you know what? Even when, because I think as women, we get to a certain age, it's like, dang, am I supposed to be settling down? And why is this happening with everybody else? And why isn't it happening with me?
I agree.
But I am actually so thankful for all the things my trauma has protected me from. Like, don't get me wrong, it's ruined some things. Have ruined
I
some things.
mean,
And I
I
wish I could
agree.
work through that. But definitely having some of that bite protected me from so much
Hmm.
that it's kind of like you look back at hindsight, like, dang, yeah, I wish I could have done this differently. But
I
also, when
sh-
I look at like where we are now, because like, and I think I've told you this, me and you had a conversation like last week. I am so proud of you. I am so amazed and in awe by you, and I love you so much. And I'm just like
Me
so proud
too.
of your growth and just like how I've seen you. Because a couple years ago, I could not have invited you on a podcast. I would have had to bleep everything out. I would have. Matter of fact, I did have you on one podcast, and we had to throw it away.
Oh my gosh, I know I
I'm
was
gonna
talking
take this
so much.
out,
I
but you
used to
kept saying
be
illegal
in
shit,
my
Gabby.
20s. Y'all don't understand. I've calmed down and it is growth. Chris is not learning. I have grown. It took a minute to grow up. One thing I've always looked up to you because I've always feel like I don't have a big sister, so I feel like you are one of the ones who like just protect me in a different way. You really do care about my well-being and what I am. And when I was in my 20s making bad decisions, because you was on my journey from DC. I stayed with you a couple days. I was really in a different place. In my mindset. Like I used to just let these guys play in my face. Like and I was a yes girl, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Like, I would just the craziest things, like, I have stories, but the craziest things would I just be like, all right, that's fine if that's how you feel. And I think that's where this nonchalant came from. So when I moved to Miami, it's like I got a sense of we
Mhm.
gonna do this right. I did some therapy. I highly recommend therapy. Get yourself together, figure it out. What is the issue? And that's when I learned, like, I really do have daddy issues, and I had to work through that. Once
It
I got
is.
over that hump, nobody was safe.
It is such a hard thing as a woman to have to admit that you have daddy issues. I know, at least for me. I know for me for a long time, I was like, no, because I grew up like the Huxtables. And it was like, yeah, girl, let's. Oh, I remember the first time I had a therapist be like, hey, there's a string here. What happens if I pull on the string? And I was like, don't pull on that fucking string. This whole thing gonna unravel. Don't pull on that fucking string. I am doing a-okay-ish on the surface. And
Mhm.
she pulled that string and then I had to really look at some things. I had stuff in the back of my mind, like, crap. It's that damn father of mine, ain't it? I know it is. I know it is. Pick one. I got two dads, so pick one of them, but it's one of them, ain't it? But I do want to say, yes, I really loved seeing you grow into your own in Miami because you did. You really grew into your own, and it was so beautiful watching your growth. Even your journey to Texas, like, and just seeing you take that leap, and I was just so so proud of you because um with me, one of the things is people who are very indecisive do make me very nervous, and I'm definitely the friend that like you got two or three times to tell me about something. That fourth time I'm gonna be like, you ain't making. I'm not as nice, I'm not as gentle.
I purposely would not tell you
I
stuff. I
know.
would tell you to the fact it's already done because I already knew. Like I was like, no, I'm just not gonna tell her. And then like after I did, I'll be like, so
Everybody does.
I
Is it?
also think. you need friends like that who hold you accountable because you are one of my friends who's gonna hold me accountable for my actions. Like, and you make me be like, you make me, I had to grow up at some point. At some point, you gotta grow up. At some point, you can't just be out here like, oh, well, yeah, I know he's getting over on me and I'm okay with it.
Mhm.
Absolutely not. Like, no, no.
You're cracking me
Mm-mm.
up because one, that's it what everybody Neek tells me all the time. Matter of fact, the other day Neek was like, "Oh, because I'm working on something. I'm starting." I'm like, "What is it?" She's like, "No, because if I don't do it, you're gonna be get mad." She's like, "I'm gonna tell you once I get halfway there when I need encouragement. You the person that if I need to make something happen, I know to go to you. But if you are not
Mhm.
sure, you're not the person to come to." And I'm not.
And you know what? I've always appreciated your bluntness and your honesty because you just gonna let me know. And no matter if, even if it's uncomfortable, we sit on the phone in silence. You be like, "Did you hear me?" Okay. I'll be like, "I heard you." All right.
But I'm cracking up because I do remember a time you had made a decision to go do something and you knew it was something I was
Mhm.
going to disagree with. And so you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me till after it happened and you needed somebody you was very emotional, you need somebody to talk to. And you was like, and before you started, you was like, Rest, I just want to say before I get into this story, I already know how you feel. That's why I didn't tell you. She was like, I already know you was gonna tell me not to do it. And that's why I did not tell you until now. And then you told me the
I
whole
believe it.
thing. It's me and your other friend who lives across the seas, and you was telling me, you were like, I already knew not to call y'all too. You're like, I already knew I wasn't gonna call y'all. It was
Oh,
some
you
guy
talking
you was
about
going to go
Whitney.
see.
Girl, she's another person who holds me accountable. That person right there, she don't play. And just, yeah, that one, yeah.
But like going back to like the topic at hand, like the whole thing is like, I think it's promoted like if you are the cool girl, this will increase your options of being loved, of getting the type of man that you want. And I really think the biggest point I want to us that we want to make here is like that is a lie.
It's
That
a
is a
yes.
fantasy.
Yes.
That is a storybook written by men.
At some point, your real self is gonna come out. At some point, your wants are gonna come out. Either you're gonna stay in it and have an attitude and be miserable, or either you're gonna be yourself. And if he can't accept you for who you are, then I wouldn't do it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and I think like because with it really promotes this kind of like, oh, I'm effortless. That's the thing
Mhm.
about the girlfriend. I am a effortless partner. You don't have to put into me. And like, let's really think about that. I am an effortless partner. Like, why would you want partnership where they do not put in effort? Meanwhile, you fighting back your whole personality to
I
make this
like that word,
person love you.
effortless. I like that word, but I also think like I'm problemless. Like I cause the least amount of problems. Like, and I think that goes into the low maintenance. Like I'm low maintenance. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about me. I can handle everything. You don't have to.
Yeah. And also that low maintenanceness, it's like I think you can naturally be low maintenance when you're aligned with the right person, but you have to be honest and authentic to get yourself aligned with the right person. Trying to pretend to be low maintenance when you're with somebody that you have to put on a mask to be around for them to tolerate you, that is always going to be high maintenance, low rewards on your
Agreed.
end.
I agree.
And I think also one of the things I feel like is such a drawback when we're talking about like being the cool girl, trying to be that persona, um, is that like it means also you're always having to add to things, right? Because the cool girl
Yes.
changes, it morphs. And so it might be when I met this man, or it might be while I'm out here dating, I'm trying to just find somebody. It is okay, I am my waist small, hair
Mhm.
done, nails done, everything did. I am like, oh, don't worry about it. You didn't call me back. It's cool. It's fine. You didn't text me for 3 days. It's fine. I know you're busy.
Yeah.
I'm not the type of girl that worries about stuff like that. Right. And that's how you are. But here's the thing, they'll keep adding because
Mhm.
when you're not working with a real person, it just seems like you're going to oblige to all my needs. I'm going to add to those needs.
I also think social media plays a big role in what the cool girl looks like. And I say this because I think we went through a phase and could still be a phase, I don't know, but where like um if you didn't have a small waist, big butt, it just wasn't a thing. Like you wasn't it. And I think that's when people really start transforming their bodies and trying to look the part of what we think like men or I guess society wants.
Mhm.
Now I see a different side of social media where it's like working out. Like I'm like some fit girls on social media. So
Mhm,
it's like it's interesting that it's like health as well. It's
mhm.
taking a change. And I do think that it's I'm not saying they're cool girls. I'm not saying that at all. That's not where I'm going with this. But I do think look wise, it social media plays a part in what it's supposed to look like, if
Yeah,
that makes sense. Um, yeah.
I agree. I saw a clip from Julia Fox, the girl who was dating Kanye when he first like broke up with Kim.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna take a look at her birth chart. She's interesting. She's so interesting to me. But in this clip I was watching, she had made a comment about how, because I don't know if you've seen her lately, but she's very different than like when she was dating Kanye, right? And that's when I was most familiar with her. I understand she was on a popular TV show. I have ADHD. If things are longer than 5 minutes, there's a good chance I'm not paying attention and watching it. So I miss a lot of popular shows. She was on a popular show. And it's a very big difference in like I guess how she dressed in that show, how she dressed when he was with her versus now. Now she's very artsy. Now she's very much like in the show I was watching, like she did not have her eyebrows or they were like bleached super, super blonde, and her makeup was very dramatic and like intricate, and it was very fascinating. And a person talking to her, and she basically was like, and this is not quote by quote, but she was basically like, girl, I do this for the girls and for myself. She was like, and men get so mad now. She's like, I constantly get comments on like social media of men being like, I miss when you used to dress sexy. And I miss it. She was like, and now I dress for me. I dress for the girlies. I do this because it looks cute and it's artsy and whatever, whatever. And it is a very dramatic difference. And I loved it. And I was like, yes. And I saw some people like having comments and stuff underneath it. And it was a lot of women that were just like, honestly, now that I think about it, who am I dressing for? Because mini skirts are uncomfortable, heels are uncomfortable. But like, am I doing that for me? And like, people were having this conversation in the comments, and I loved it because you're right. It does promote, and not even, I won't even say social media, but media in general promotes a certain look. Like, hey, this is what you're supposed to look like. If you want to be, considered one of these type of women that people want to choose from, you have to look and you have to dress like that. And I love that we're coming to a space where you are seeing women who are just like, no, I love seeing the girlies on like TikTok and stuff that have the super dramatic makeup. Like they have like a
Hmm.
swan on their face and they're going to the grocery store. And you will see it. You'll see sometimes, and not to pick on men, guys. I promise I'm not trying to pick on y'all. But you will see sometimes men in the comments like, this is so dramatic. Why would you do this? Why would you blah blah blah? And you'll see the girlies like, yes, yes, how do I put a dove on the side of my cheek? I want to wear this for my quinceañera, and they get so mad and they get so mad. But it's like for so long we've been told this is ideal, and here's the thing, it wasn't like I was appreciating when we did it that way. Why not morph into what feels good for us?
I agree. I think growing up, I fought with that a little bit because there was a time in my life you would never catch my hair being this curly. My hair is naturally curly, too
And she has
curly.
the
I
most
hate it.
gorgeous defined curls in the world. Like what takes me
I
hours to get my hair to define it in 8 products, she wash and goes, no products and be good.
actually this morning I just did a little shaking, came on.
I
So hope
know.
this helps. I was one of the girls, like, I got my first perm at 13. I believed that guys did not like girls with curly hair, they like girls with straight hair, so I would, like, make my mom straighten my hair. I would literally burn my hair. I went through in college, I used to literally roller wrap my hair before going out, like, everything. Why? Because nobody likes curly hair, girls, like, we are not popping. And I think now, as I've gotten older and I realized I don't like tight clothes. Never knew that about myself. I hate tight clothes. I don't like to I don't. I used to do it. Why? Because best friend,
Mhm.
she liked tight clothes and she's a girly girl. She's all for the nails, the hair, the lashes, the outfits, everything. Me, I am a curly haired girl who likes loose shirts and biker
Mhm.
shorts with some Crocs. That is me. And it took me I'm 32, it took me 30 not well, it took me about 30 years to get to this point and be comfortable in what I'm in, and if you can't accept me like that, then it is what it is. Because 'cause I'm such a laid back soul, and I've never realized that about myself. I do not I like to be comfortable. Now, I will wear dresses and heels and stuff, don't get it wrong, but I'm a biker shorts, curly head, sweatpants, hair when Drake said sweatpants, hair tied, chilling with no makeup on, He was talking about me. He was talking about me.
Can I say though, mine is actually, it's so funny. Mine is kind of actually a little bit of the opposite because, again, y'all know this about me. I'm a pastor's kid and I am busty. I am a very busty girl. I mean, D cups 8th grade at the minimal. I went from nothing to a D cup like in one summer. And then it just kept growing. So I'm a very busty girl. And for a long time, I was the opposite. I really tried to hide and cover up because I was so used to people making comments to me, even when I was fully covered up. And then one day, I was like in my mid 20s where I'm like, y'all gonna see these titties. Y'all gonna see these titties. They gonna be there. They're beautiful. They're gonna be up and they gonna be out. And for me, it was the total opposite. And I know it sounds odd because it usually goes the other way. But for me, it was the opposite because I felt so ashamed. So I felt I had to hide my body a lot. And so yeah, it felt super, super, super inappropriate for me. And now I am like, even now I have people that'll say comments. Sometimes when I'm out in public, people will say comments. And it's not like now I'm just wearing bikinis out in work. It's just like literally used to not wear V-necks because I'm like, no, because it shows a little bit of cleavage. And I don't want people to think I'm purposely trying to get male attention. And I don't want people purposely judging me and thinking I'm one of those type of girls because I'm a good, respectable woman. And I want to make sure people know that. And so it was weird. It was such, and then now I'm just like, I don't care. If I like it, I'm gonna buy it. I'm like, oh, but it shows a little bit of cleavage. They gonna be there. They gonna be there. When I'm wearing hoodies, they're visible. They're there. So for me, it was kind of opposite. But I think it goes back to, again, learning your comfort level instead of picking on what you were told. Like, this is what you're supposed to be if you want to be viewed in this way, if you want to be picked in this way, if you want to be seen as this type of person.
I agree. I definitely agree. At some point, you got to be comfortable with yourself. And I think I've learned like guys kind of like authentic girls,
Mhm.
like
But also
you're
fuck what they
supposed to.
like. But also fuck what they like. They
I
don't.
agree. I'm gonna be myself either way.
Yeah.
Either way, like I'm gonna be my goofy, nonchalant self. I've always been this way. And if you don't like it, that's okay. Cause
Mhm.
I'm guaranteed there's somebody out here who would love it.
And here's the thing also, I think we're going back to like being a cool girl and trying to fit a certain mold is,
Mhm.
do they even be following their modes for real? Like, do they even?
No,
I had a girlfriend who, like, I remember
no.
this was years ago, but like, she had this whole moment because there was a
Mhm.
guy she was dating, she was trying to get serious with, and he just kept playing. She couldn't figure out why. And so, her being her, she hit me up, was like, I need you to figure out who these other women are. I was like, got you. I came back with all of them.
FBI.
Look, I'm definitely the go-to person. And I came back with all of them. And it really like kind of hurt her. And she was just like,
Mhm.
what? She was like, wow, he telling me like I want someone that's gonna be in the gym with me and blah blah blah. And I want someone that looks like this. And to find out none of those women look like her. None of them. All of them look completely different. Different skin
Mhm.
colors, different hair textures, different races. Some were thicker, some were smaller, some had boobs, some had no boobs whatsoever. He swore up and down like I am a booty man. Some had no booty. Like all these things. And like it
They
was
be
really,
lying.
well,
Mm.
and I think also, can we just be honest? Some men like vagina. Like that's their
They
type.
do. They
Vagina.
do. It what do they say? I'm sorry to say, but vagina has no face, and I definitely know what that means. Take care of what you feel like, and that's just what it is.
Oh gosh. That
It's the
and
truth.
And then also, I mean, I think it's also very much in there that sometimes it's just personality. Sometimes it's just
I
personality.
agree.
Sometimes it's just a spark you don't understand. I know if I look at
Mhm,
my, if you look at my dating history, I think most of my friends know my type. I
mhm.
do have a type that if I
Yes,
see that
you
type,
do.
I do. If I see that
Mm.
type, I'm like, "Ooh, who is he?" But I don't always date that type. Usually my type also, they're not dateable. They're not dateable. They're pretty to look at. But like if you look at the people I date, they all don't look alike. I don't think the people that I've actually dated always fit my type. And
Mhm.
so keep that in mind. Sometimes you meet people and when you first meet them, you're like, I mean, he cool. And then after like a month of talking, oh my gosh, he's the prettiest thing in the world.
I'm all about vibes and what you give off because I do believe energy is real. Yeah,
But I agree with you. I do think it's like sometimes it's just vibes.
it's vibes. It is.
And I will say, like, I have seen people's face get cracked when you are out here trying to be a type, and then you come to find out, like, the person they ended up setting down with ain't nothing like what they told you.
I agree. And I say that every man that has cheated on me, they
Mhm,
have had one particular type, and it's I'm not gonna say it because
mhm.
it's whatever, but it's one particular type, and it just baffles me, and I think I get offended by it. Like I be like I look good. Like I get mad, and I have never understood that because I just be like, if that's what you like, then at the end of the day, that's what you should have ended up with.
Mm,
So it baffles me. It baffles me. I'm
I
cool
mean,
with I'm cool with a guy like dating somebody and they go on, but it's like every time men cheat on you, it's always with somebody who don't look better than you. And I've never understood that bit.
again, sometimes their type is just vagina. Like, it's not meanwhile, they telling you, like, "I want a woman that
Agree.
cooks, that cleans." Look, I am so I and you guys know I live in the South. I'm in Atlanta, and, I'm always meeting men that's like, "Yeah, 'cause I want someone that's gonna cook and gonna clean." I'm like Cardi B, "I don't cook, I don't clean."
You meet awesome men though. Like you meet men of quality.
I mean, good
I
men
you
on
you
paper, okay?
raise
If
men like
they
that.
could be great emotionally, that'd be awesome. You're right. I meet a lot of really great men on paper. Emotionally, though.
That was the pause for me.
But emotionally, if that's where we're lacking, okay? Okay, all the people who need therapists find me and want to date me, and I'm like, I could just charge you 150 an hour, and we could both benefit from this. Why?
That part.
Why? Why make me hate Aquarius? Like, let's just get you in a chair and let's sort out your mother issues, okay? Um, without the use of my vagina, let's sort out your mother issues. Um,
Always
but
meet men who want to talk to you. That's the problem. The moment they start talking, you're
aren't
like,
you
well,
supposed to be
okay.
meeting men that want to talk?
Like,
No, you're
okay.
right. I do meet men
Okay.
who love to talk, who always want to talk. This is very, very
Oh
true.
man, that is so funny.
But I mean, let's going back to like how the cool girl archetype affects romantic relationships. And
Mhm.
one of the biggest things to me is kind of like she talked about in that monologue from Gone Girl is that it makes men believe that this woman actually exists. And she doesn't.
Some do though. I'll say that some women will live up to that expectation.
But is that who she really is? Or is that a woman
No,
that actually, yeah, that's what I mean by exist though.
I
It
got
makes
you.
them believe that there's a factory outputting these women who are born,
Mhm.
who are like, do whatever you want. I don't care. I'm fine with it. My feelings don't get hurt. I don't get jealous. You could disrespect me. What?
Mhm.
I,
I used to be that girl. I'm telling you, I used to be her. Like
but that's
I
not
did
who you
not
were
care.
naturally. That was
And
never who you were naturally.
that's and exactly, and that's where that growth came in.
Yeah.
Because sure, you won't get that now. Ooh, I'm a hot mess now.
But I do think it makes people, not only men, but also women. I think it can promote to men that sometimes, like, oh, it's this girl out here. So then when you're out here dating, you have unrealistic expectations. So instead of when
Mhm.
you meet women who are like, I'm going to challenge your ideals of women and I'm going to ask you to grow, it's like, nah, because there's this unicorn out there. And then it also promotes, I think, for women, like, okay, but if you aren't being loved on and you're not being quote unquote picked or whatever, it's because you're not
Mhm.
this.
Yeah.
So either be a cat lady and be alone or be this. And one
Mhm.
of the things I think I don't know if it was me, you or me and Nick, but I know I recently had this conversation with someone where I said, a lot of my views, even from season one, has changed on some things, but over the years have really changed. And I have noticed, one, as I'm getting older, there's a lot of things I think I prioritized when I was younger that now my mind has kind of shifted on. But I
Mhm.
also notice sometimes this happens with a lot of women when we get older. And I think sometimes like what they accept lowers and lowers and lowers because it's like, I don't want to be alone.
Mm.
And I
They
think
also talk about the
sometimes that
dating
could come
pool.
in of like, okay,
Yeah.
now not only with my expectation of you lower, then okay, things I used to be rah rah, I'm not gonna change this. I'm not gonna change this. They're like, okay, maybe I'm gonna turn a blind eye to a couple things. Maybe maybe I will kind of just act like it's not that important to me. I don't care. And that's the harm I think that happens with this myth of the cool girl is that when you're not getting what you want, because sometimes it's promoted so heavily, even in subtle ways, that this is the ideal person. And if you could only be this,
Mhm.
because this is really what men want, that it starts to feel like as you get further and further up in age, you're not getting the partner you want, you're not getting the things that you want. It's like, dang, maybe they were right.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
maybe I do need to give some leeway on some of these things that low key will torture me. It
I
will really
mean,
harm me to pretend I don't care when you hurt my feelings, to not pretend I don't care that you don't remember my birthday, to just be, I'm so cool. What? The stripper? She's been out of your house, but she just slept on the couch? Yeah. Yeah, man, I believe that. I'm not going to do any left eye type of activities. Cool, cool. And then maybe that will help me get my person.
oh, that's deep. Because I think as you do get older, I have a parent who's dating, and it's interesting watching her date because she she still holds strong to her
She
expectations.
does. I love your mom and I'm really proud of her too. But I love that too cuz yeah, sometimes you talk to some of the older women and it's like, okay, then maybe I need a rest. Maybe I was wrong somewhere. Um I have not reached that point yet. I am still very much I'm very much scaring away the hoes. I very much am very much am coming in like, now this is my personality. And I'm like, what? I
Yeah.
like a woman that cooks. I refuse to learn. Now what? Now what?
And me, I'm
Luckily,
such a nurturer. I'm a cooker. I love to cook, and something I love to do. That's my love language.
you know
Um,
what? But the universe has been working it out. I always meet men who cook, who are great cooks.
so one of my requests for this for a man, one of
Mhm.
my requests is I want to walk in the grocery store and walk around lost while you push the basket. I
Mm.
don't want to push the basket no more. I'm tired. I don't want to carry the groceries to the car. You do it. I want to walk around the grocery store with my list and look lost. Like, hold on, babe, I'm going over here to do this. That's like one of my main. It sounds so simple, but that's one of my requests. So, hmm,
I mean, but I think it's the simple things as well, because also
mhm,
I think as we're talking about not pushing a cool girl archetype, it is having balance of needs and it's not a suppression. I think the whole archetype of cool girl is I suppress my needs to fulfill you.
mhm, yep,
And I think to rally against that, it is no, my needs are important. I not only state them, I demand them if you're going to be in partnership with me. I don't
yep,
ignore them, and neither will you.
yep. And one thing I know is I've learned communicating and talking. Uh, we express our feelings in this household and we talk
Yeah.
about things. So you have to know how to communicate your feelings in a safe manner because sometimes people get crazy. So
Oh, yeah. I agree with you because I think it can go in both ways. Like, I know for me, communication was really hard thing for me to learn. And it's crazy when I say that because I feel like I say that now, and people, especially people who know me in a professional sense, like, you're so good at communication, blah, 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 blah. I was like, yes. But like, it was never like I didn't know how to, I didn't want to. Like, no, no, no. I
mhm,
always had the words. I was just annoyed that why? I feel like you grown. You know what you did. Why do we need to talk? And now, like you said, it is a big part of me of like, no, we have to communicate. And I think for a long time, I did not communicate my needs. And
mhm,
so I would get mad and just like, you grown. I feel like you should know these things. And the truth of the matter is, some people simply do not. Some people do not grow up in an environment where they saw healthy, loving connections. And so, like, to just assume that for folks is wild because even though you like, you 20, you 28, you 32, you should know this by now, blah, blah, blah. You don't know what people have been through. And if you love that person, why not give them the benefit of doubt and then communicate what you need and then go from there?
mhm.
I think in the past, that wasn't something I was big on, but now for me, it is okay. Did I speak my piece?
Yeah. And ooh, that's so deep. Ooh, that's so
Yeah.
deep. So I'm going to dissect this what you just said. So
Mhm.
the cool girl. So okay, I grew up. I'm talking not talking about my mom's side because my
Mhm.
mom raised me perfect.
Mhm.
My dad, on the other hand, let's talk about that. So, like, that side of the family is interesting because I realized growing up, I believe they grew up like under that old era where women don't really say much. And so I never said anything. I would suppress my feelings. I wouldn't express myself. I was the girl to go cry in the corner. Like
Mhm.
that definitely was me. And I think that affected as I got older, that affected a lot of my relationships because I was the yes girl. Like you could literally tell me I'm going to spend the night at my baby mama house, and I'd be like, okay, like, whatever. And that's not okay. Like,
Yeah.
that's not okay. And so that's why when we talk about the cool girl, like, you don't say nothing. Everything flies. It's just like they basically can do what they want.
Yeah.
And your feelings, it's just like, fuck 'em. Like, you know? And
Really?
so that affected a lot growing up. I just never realized it. And so Miami is where I got my therapy, and I
Mhm.
felt like I got my voice back because I felt like if you can't, that's when I kind of started being like, dude, don't play with me. Like, I will hurt your feelings. And I think that's where that came from, a lot of anger of going so many years of not being able to express myself. So I do think sometimes like how you were raised can affect how your outlook on being like the girl that
Yeah.
you think you're supposed to be. And when you're ready to have that conversation with whoever the person is, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a parent either,
Mhm.
and they sometimes you have to accept the fact that they're not willing to listen to you.
Mhm.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Because you can take that and figure out how to make it work for you.
Yeah.
I disengage. My thing is I disengage. That's my protection. That's how I protect myself. If you don't want to listen to me, then fine. Then we just not gonna talk. That's
Yeah.
just what it is. So
And I think one of the biggest pushbacks from I hear from folks when they're talking about therapy is like, nah, because I always want to talk about childhood and old stuff. I want to talk about what's happened now. And the reason we do that because kind of like you broke down, it's so important because it shapes who you
yes,
are. And I
it
know I
does.
sound like a repeated record because I know we say this on the podcast so much, but like really think about it. Your family home is your playground when you learn how human bonds and connections work. So if I grow up with a father who is distant, who's emotionally not there, and it only seems like when I'm on my best behavior is the only time he wants to be there, and that's only still sometimes, then that is going to put
Mhm.
in me that is how I need to interact with men. And for some of us, that's how it comes out. Look, first of all, there's many type of daddy issues. Let's just put that out there.
You
That it
have
can be
people
how
have
it
them.
comes out. I have daddy
Yeah.
issues. That's not the daddy issues I have. I really wish I had the type of daddy issues that could be that like make me feel like everything would be resolved with a rich older man. I wish those were the type.
Wish.
Unfortunately, I have the type of daddy issues that make me date men like my dad and then deliver his karma to them. That's how my daddy issues work. It's okay. It's okay. We've processed through it, but like that's how mine was.
So funny.
I was just delivering karma that should have been gone to two specific men, to all these young, innocent young men out here. They weren't innocent, but
See, I
it
was the
had nothing to do
pleaser.
with
I
them.
tried to be the pleaser, and that was the problem. I grew up trying to get my dad to notice me so much that I took on this pleasing persona, and so I felt like I had to please a man and be what he wanted me to be in order to make him happy. I'm not that girl no more, so don't try that over here at all. Like, no, at all.
I have never.
Work through it, because that trauma's real. I'm just saying, I never thought it was, but it definitely is, and it definitely does. Just how you said, like people don't realize how you grow up affects your adulthood. It just
It,
does. It's like a vicious cycle, and at some point, either you're gonna break the cycle, or either it's just gonna repeat the cycle. There's no in
mhm.
between.
Well, and then also like going back to like how it can affect even from the mom's side, like I think also as women, like even if you're portraying that, imagine what type of image you are projecting onto your kids, boy or girl.
Mhm.
If your son, because I've dated some of these raggedy sons who
So
was
is
like,
that
my
80
mama
Cent
just did
Selena.
whatever for my dad. She didn't trip. My dad was out here doing
Oh,
whatever. But you know what? They been
make
here
my head.
30 years. Think about that one dude. Oh, that trifling ass little boy. Clay. What's his name? Clay? On that TV
Girl, you
show?
talking about
Was
yes.
that his name? No, his name wasn't Clay.
Yes,
Who
and
was he?
are you talking about Love Is Blind?
Yes. What is that boy's name?
That's Clay. Talk
That's
about
Clay.
Clay,
Okay.
the
I
one
didn't
who
watch it. I
got
only
on the
watched
altar
the
and decided
clips.
to
Huh?
girl,
I didn't watch it. I only watched the clips and I'm angry from the clips. But I saw him air all his mama's business.
he did. It was
And
his
what he
daddy's
do? He
business
said
he
all those
aired
things
out.
he wanted. He said all those
Yeah,
things. And that's why we can't be together because your finances a little messy and da 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 da. And then he ended up on the shade room with Selena Powell.
sure did. Sure did.
Because
And
here's the thing, it doesn't matter being, and I'm not saying that the young girl that he was dating on there was trying to be the cool girl, not at all. But I do know she seemed
she
very
was not.
different than Selena Powell. And what I'm just bringing up to say is because it don't matter what type they say they want. So being a
It
cool
was
girl
the
does
part.
not save you. It does not mean you'll get picked. It does not mean anything. Because again, it won't. It won't. They'll still go out here and do them and
They
say a
sure
whole
will.
other thing. And also, but my point was bringing him up of like, you saw him talk about his mom accepting all this disrespect from his father, and that he is the product of that. So while we're talking about also doing, stepping out of that role and that archetype for yourself, especially if you have kids or you want to be a mother and you have children, like think about what you are passing on. I'm a huge believer though, when you are very conscious of your parenting and you impact
Mhm.
and you try to, promote healthiness and so forth, you usually are going to get a child who at least knows those values.
I crack up because actually it's crazy because particularly my dad's side of the family, they said they thought I would be the first one to have a child. I would be the first one. And I think that's wild because if anything, I'm the only grandchild who went to college. I have no children. Every last one of them have children. Every last one, but me.
Mhm.
So it's that expectation too. And I think I grew up wanting to prove everybody wrong. Y'all got me messed up. I'm not that girl, and now that I'm older, they don't like my mouth because 'cause I'm not that girl who just sits at the edge of the table and don't say nothing no more. Y'all gonna get these feelings, boo.
Mhm.
Y'all gonna get this mouth and get these feelings.
Look, because
I'm
that's how
healed.
you get your needs met. Because also here's the thing of like, okay, so if the whole thing about the cool girl is okay, I get to get the person I want and they feel comfortable
Yep.
and at ease with me. Does that matter if you don't feel comfortable and at ease? If this whole experience for you
Ooh.
is draining,
Mhm.
is it worth it? I don't know. I know the answer for you, but I mean, for our audience listeners, like, I don't know if
Right.
y'all have ever been in a draining experience. I have. It wasn't even trying to be the cool girl. It was just draining for several other reasons. And it turned me off from love for years. Like when I thought
Girl.
of love, I was like, mm. You mean that scary thing that made me want to burn down his house? Nah, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Funny. I think the cool girl eventually goes crazy. This is my quote. The cool girl eventually goes crazy, and now both of us looking at me at crazy. What? Like,
Mhm.
that's how I feel sometimes. Like, I mean, like, if I was still that person back then, I would have been doing crazy. Now you looking at me at crazy, and we both sitting here wondering why I'm crazy. Cause you
Yeah.
delusional. Like, that's crazy. Like, it's
And
just a circle. Ooh, growth
and
is
I
real. That's all
even
I
want
can say.
And I even want to bring it back to like, let's talk about, because as we're talking about it in love, it goes beyond just love, y'all. Because
It
thinking about
does.
being the cool girl in like career type spaces. Um, I don't know this lady, so I'm not gonna say that's what she was doing, but I'm thinking of like Angela Lee.
Mhm, mhm. I
I don't
got you.
watch The Breakfast Club, but I have seen clips of The Breakfast Club and so forth. And I know I have came across several conversation discussions of like women going on that show and being straight up disrespected and people being like, is you a woman? You just sat there and let your co-host disrespect or make that a very uncomfortable environment for another woman. And it wasn't like a one-time thing. It wasn't like a two-time thing. This is something that I have saw on social media brought up several times. I'm not really qualified to talk on it because again, I don't watch the show. Never have. Not interested.
I don't either.
Charlemagne irks my ever being. Anyways. But I bring that up because is an example of that of like it's not even like it was necessarily from what I'm understanding a one-time thing, a two-time thing where you can say, I think she was just caught off guard, or they're like, no, this happens enough that it
Mhm.
started to overshadow her because I know at least in the spaces I'm in with black women when that topic is brought up they have very negative outviews on her because they now view you as someone who is not a protector of women, who is not team women, and
Oh, the girl's
now
girl. The
a
girl's
girl's
girl.
girl. And here's the thing. I know I can understand why people we get annoyed with things like the girl's girl archetype and stuff
Mhm.
like that too, because I think it too much of anything we take it too far, and all of a sudden, from being a girl's girl now, like some women are horrible. Like, and can we be honest
Like,
about that?
hands down. Some women just don't care. They
Some
don't care.
don't, and like, why do
They
I
just
need
don't.
to? Do I need to defend her in her wrongness too? Like, no, and I can get that, but it's like. when you take on that persona of cool girl, again, not calling her a cool girl, but I'm using that as an example. And
Mhm.
I don't say things. I don't try to protect people. I ignore my feelings. I ignore the discomfort and all these type of things in these spaces. Now you're also putting yourself in a position for other women to label you as, okay, she is not safe.
Yeah.
And let me be clear, I know I have had this. This is something that's real for me. I definitely went through a stage where I was like, I prefer guys over girls. Again, I grew up in a space with 7 boys and so forth. So there was a period in my life where I did. I had mostly male friends, and I was like a guy's girl type of girl. So I get it. But let me tell you one of the things I learned from that. It is dangerous to be the only woman in spaces. It can be very, very dangerous for you to be in spaces where you're the only woman. It is very dangerous for you as a woman to be in periods in your life where you have no females around you that are willing to love on you and support you. It is so important to have a group as a woman, to have a group of women as support. And I
I
know for
agree.
some people, they're like, nah, because I have my guy bros and they blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to tell you from a lesson I've learned, and older women try to tell me, and I was like, y'all old and bitter. Y'all don't know better. And now I'm their age. And I'm like, oh, okay. I see their point. It is a dangerous position for you. You want to have, if you find yourself in a period where you are like, nah, I'm always surrounded by males and only males. And now, I just don't like women. I don't fuck with women. I want you to really sit back and think about why. I really want you to be honest with yourself. I really want you to take some accountability with yourself. That is a very dangerous position to put
You
yourself
gotta
in.
work
You
through that.
need women around you as a woman.
You do.
I think you can have a group of guys. I still have a group
And
of male friends who are I love, who do protect me, who are there for me, who are nurturing, who are kind. However, there are certain topics, there's certain things I need my girls for. And there's certain things that they don't know. There's certain things like I'm usually the baby of the group, but Gabby is like 3 months younger than me. And so she always likes to be like, I'm the baby.
yes, I am.
But if I push Gabby to the side, I'm usually the baby of the group. And one of the things I love about that is that I learned so much from some of my girlfriends. Like they pass down so much like pit stops, be like, girl. Like I remember one of my homegirls telling me, like, girl, ovulation.
Mhm.
Before I had my child, I knew nothing about ovulation pain. I knew nothing about like, yeah, like it wasn't a thing for me. Ovulation pain. Yeah, that's not a thing. I'm like, no, I don't even know when I'm ovulating. What are y'all talking about? And they will give me the heads up, like, girl, yeah, baby girl. Yeah, you don't even know. Yeah, after that baby drop, yeah, not only are you gonna have your period, you're gonna have ovulation pains. You're gonna know when you ovulating. You're gonna have
No.
sensation that pops up now. And I was like, what? What? Even when I had gave birth, there were certain things because I actually is about to again give birth in a couple weeks, and I've been telling her certain things that aren't in the books, and she'd be like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "Yeah, girl, they don't tell you this, but go ahead and get you a diaper. Go ahead and get you a diaper because they're gonna give you some little mesh panties and pads that are like 18 inches long. Go get a diaper. Go buy you some adult diapers and stock up. Like there's certain things that like." I needed that wisdom from other women to prepare me, to
I
help
know who to
me.
come to when I do
Have
have kids.
I'm gonna terrify you. I'm gonna terrify you. Ashley got to the point she was like, if you could stop telling me stuff, that'd be great. If you could stop telling me things. I was like, I just want you to be prepared, okay?
They come in handy though, I'll say that, like,
Yeah. I mean, not even just
mm-mm.
those things, even stuff with you and Neek. Like, there's just things that I don't know. There's certain things I'm not aware of, like how I'm coming off or how things are. And there's something about
Yeah.
having a group of women who love you to be like, hey,
Yeah.
I know you're know you think this is what this is, but let me just give you some wisdom from my great grandma. I mean, what she passed down to me. It's important to have that. And I think sometimes when you are so deep in trying to be that cool girl archetype, you can isolate yourself from other women.
I
And it could
agree.
and it could come off to you like, oh, they hating or they wish they was because I got all the men's. All the
And
men's.
sometimes when you try to be the cool girl, I think it messes up the relationships that you have already built with people because you're trying to put on this persona and be someone that you're not. Like,
Hmm.
and then trying to be the cool girl, you're so pleasing to these guys, because we won't use the other words. You're so pleasing to these guys that you find yourself always having your heart broken because you gave them a part of you. and you had expectations that they didn't fulfill. So when
That
I
is the
think of that,
part. That's the part right there. Just highlight it. That's the part right there.
so I think about it and I think in my mind, I'm not I have my expectations, but if I'm meeting you, I'm not I'm you gonna either you that is where I'm gonna stop at.
No, I think that is so good. And that's the part I want to highlight. Like, you still end up heartbroken because you don't have requirements. Being a cool girl means I don't have requirements to love me.
Yeah.
And so while I'm loving you, my heart is still being broken because there's no requirements. So I am accepting whatever it is you are giving me.
Yeah.
And usually you're given scraps.
You are, and you're given scraps, and then you come with you try to set expectations by saying, "Oh, well, you need to put gas in my car. You need to send me money for lunch, or you need to do this." Well, you should have set that expectation in the beginning, not after the fact.
Hmm.
That's
One of
just
the
that
things
one.
I like with like this, going back to Gone Girl, because she
Hmm.
says that monologue as she is driving away for a very ingenious plan. Obviously, I applaud her. But she's driving away and she's saying this because in the movie, if you haven't seen it, like she's like she is thin, she's blonde, she's like conventionally pretty.
Hmm.
She has the money in the relationship. And she's like, and then I also did all the cool girl stuff. And she talks about it. She was like, I gave him head when he wanted, I
Yeah,
gave him sex when he wanted. I did not complain. I did all these things. And he married me. And then all that, and he still cheated. All that, and he still cheated. All of that. I'm the one who got the money, and you up here cheating? Not only do I have the money, but I'm also doing all the other stuff. I'm doing
that part.
all the other stuff, and you still don't appreciate it. And it's because, and the whole point of that cool girl monologue is to let you know it's not like this is the cheat code to get the type of love you're looking for. It's not.
It's
You
not.
still end up with the same results as maybe you were getting when you're trying other methods. So, might as well do the other methods where your needs are being met and you're getting satisfied, then shifting to, okay, I'm going to satisfy your needs. I'm going to make sure your needs met in hopes that you would love me like I want to be loved without me having to beg for it.
That just
But
sounds
that's the
miserable.
thing.
Sounds
That
boring.
cool girl thing is a way of technically begging for it.
It is. It is. It is. And really now, I think kind of we're in this era. Girls is fighting back. I'm not gonna say we for the streets, but I'm on the sidewalk waving at y'all. But we fighting back. Like
Oh,
we're not
yeah.
gonna put up with anything. Like absolutely not. Hmm. And if
Dumb.
I want to mess with you, I'll mess with you. I do. I feel like we're in our era of like, what's up? So I do. I really do.
And I
Mm,
love
mm.
this. I love this era. I love it for us. But not just for us, I love it for men too, because also it is requiring them to grow. It was requiring
It
them to be more
is.
realistic and it's good for them.
It is. I was just about to say that men are having to step their game up. Ain't no more just you. Well, I've dated a lot of drug dealers in my life. Lord knows. I've been supposed to
This is
say
why
you
I
on the
keep
corner
having to
doing this.
throw away the episodes with you in it. If we could
Fair
just make it through one
enough.
episode without you
I
going
I
into
have
felonious
I'm
details.
just I was gonna hold that one back, but I'm just gonna be honest. I'm a very honest person. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I think we have some of the best women in the industry as far as just those who really have their stuff together and just kind of know what they want. Um, I don't know if you like her, but I love her and I like kind of not look up to her, but I think about and how she kind of just went after what she wanted and stuff like that.
You know I don't. You know I don't. You know I don't. Anyways, keep going. You love her. Where are we going with her?
Well, I like her independence. I really enjoy her independence and how she just carried herself as a woman. She had the package. Like she to me, she was the most authentic, I guess, even though I act like I know her, I don't know her, just so
Mhm.
FYI. I love love. I'm a sucker for love.
Yeah.
I love how I'm not gonna say she fought with a relationship, but she did. But I do love their relationship and what they have grown together.
Mhm.
Don't look at me, Caress.
No, no, I ain't gonna say nothing about that homework and hussy. We once I find out you messing with married men, I just get like, mm.
You know, that's
It's
how
one
I
thing when
feel
you don't
about
know. It's another thing when you form like a whole campaign to get rid of the wife. I
definitely.
think just I grew up with very adulterous fathers, so it's a really tough point for me because I'm like, you destroy people like that, and I hate how I think the culture now promotes it as if like, well, because like there's a creator who I do like, I like their stuff, I love their content, but they always promote like there is no such thing as stealing a man. If somebody tries to rob the house and the door is open, is it really a robbery? And I still feel like yes, the wife didn't know he opened the door. I don't care. I whenever they post content like that, it kind of makes me step back from them for a while. Be like,
I agree. I definitely
I even
agree.
unfollowed them for like a whole year and a half because of that, because they really wanted this rampage about that, and I was like, that's, I don't know. I can't. But I'm the same thing with like friends and so forth. Like at this point in age, I can't mess with you if I know you a homewrecker because that tells me you have low self-esteem. But also, I'm big on if you will do it to others, you will do it to me. People will be like, nah, but never
Absolutely.
you, never you. I
Absolutely.
have seen so many situations of people who been friends for years who have whatever, and they be like, well, yeah, but that's my homegirl, and I be telling her she wrong, but I can't control her, and then they do it to them and they act surprised. And they be like, well, I never, that was always their character. You knew that was their character. And I'm
Mhm.
big on like, there's a guy on TikTok who it went viral like last year where it was a man and he was like, I don't do business with men who cheat on their spouse. He was like, a man who cheats on your
Ooh.
spouse will rob you in business. If you cannot be loyal to the person who dedicate their life to you, how the hell you gonna be loyal to me?
I mean, that's true. Where's the lie? There's none told.
That's not told. And that's
None.
how I look at it. So if any of my friends are cheating, y'all know not to let me find out. I'm tag teaming you with the wife. I'm sorry.
Cheating your
Trading
told us about
places.
it, like, wait a minute.
Trading places. We are not 21. We're not 23. You should have worked out all those issues by now.
Work it out, boo, because hey, and you know, when I am dating, because I'm in my little dating phase, I'm getting back out there. So I say we'll see. But I let a man know, like, don't play games with me because at this big age, I will protect my peace. I will cut you off, and I'm a little more crazier than usual. Like you wake up and something's gone, something's hidden, something. I don't know. I'm
And
in
we
this
got
phase
free
of I'll get
flights now. You already know. All you gotta do is call me. Be like, I need a plan. I will have us together by the time I land.
like,
Let's
"Mm,
figure it out.
let's figure it out. Like,
Yeah. I am not dating now. I do have someone in my life, and yeah, one of the things I will say I actually really enjoy about our connection though is I have been very authentic and shown up and been very emotionally honest with them. And they have, and look,
yes, we have to
huh?
talk after this. Wait a minute.
Y'all know I don't like talking about my love life. This,
Girl, like, like
as I said
the
that,
talk
I was just, you
off
stopped
camera.
me. You stopped me just as I was about to say, like, and this is me doing better, talking to my friends and be like, yeah, there's somebody. Because usually y'all find out later, like, ugh, I ended days ago. But
She's been
no,
holding out, y'all. She's been holding out. I didn't
I
even
always
know
got out.
this. Like, wait
I
a
always got
minute.
out. But one of the things I appreciate about our connection though is I'm able to show up very authentically, and I feel like they show up
Mhm.
very authentically with me. And I really appreciate that. Even like we recently had a really uncomfortable conversation. And it was so great because actually we were talking this morning and we kind of just like had a follow up and it felt so good and freeing to talk to him very open and honestly and be like, hey, you know, this is where I am about this particular thing. And
Mhm.
I do these particular things to protect myself. And I still have fears around this and I still have worries about this. So I'm trying to catch myself when I do this particular thing here, but this is why. And I'm very used to being like, okay, I can turn to Jigsaw real quick. And so it was really hard for me to just be honest and be like, this is in it's obviously not the first time I'm doing it, but I haven't for a while because I took a break for dating for a while and very open and freeing conversations about like, hey, these are some of my fears and this is where this fear comes from. And this is me trying to work on it, but like it's still a work in progress. And also being able to get the feedback, like, yes, I know that's a fear. I'm very aware because you keep doing this thing. And I'm like, huh, why does she keep doing this thing? And one of the things that came from, we had a conversation earlier today where he was like, okay, well, tell me, how can I show up for you in a way that feels safe? Because he's like, this is what I'm trying to do because I want you to feel safe in this. And I notice you still have a lot that you're holding back. and I can see it, I can hear it. Sometimes when I'm asking you stuff, he was like, I can tell there's like other things and you won't say it. And he was like, so this is what I'm trying to do. And I'm being very intentional. And because I want to show you, like, hey, I want to be a safe place. He was like, but it's still not working. So then tell me how to love you. Tell me how to be a safe place for you.
Ooh.
And that was like
Mm,
so
mm,
freeing to
mm.
have that conversation.
Yeah.
But I couldn't unless I opened up and communicated and then broke down those walls to have it. I don't even know how we got on this. You're making me feel very uncomfortable with the way that you're smiling at me right now. This is why I like telling y'all
Because I
stuff.
love this, because I know you, and it's for you, sometimes it's hard for you to break down those barriers. Sometimes it's hard for you to express yourself because you're quick to be like, fuck it, I'm out of here. Peace. And I love this for you.
If we
I
could stop
mean,
talking about this, I feel very uncomfortable now. If we could move on the conversation. I appreciate it though. I appreciate it though. We will not
I
be
love
having a
it.
follow-up conversation after this. This is all I feel
It's okay.
comfortable sharing.
We'll talk about this when you're ready. I'm
What
here for
do
you,
you
girl.
Okay, look, let's get to how do we move past the cool girl archetype, right?
How do we move past it?
Well, I think the first
Therapy.
thing is kind of like we talk
Oh,
about being
honest.
authentic, moving
Yeah.
past like, okay, I feel the need to act this way and learning who you are and being true to yourself, embracing your
Mhm.
authenticity. I think that's going
Yeah.
to be the biggest way because, again, the authenticity is the opposite of the cougar. The cougar, again, is very, what do they want? What are their needs? And moving towards authenticity is, what are my needs? How do I do this in collaboration in a way that feels good and peaceful and joyous for me? And you have to be authentic. You have to embrace your true self to be able to get to that point.
That's what I was gonna say. You gotta know yourself. Once you figure out who you are, and once you're comfortable in whether your hair, your skin, the way you look, your body, anything, that's when I think it becomes a lot easier to be your authentic self
Mhm.
and be like, I don't have to be a cool girl just to be with you. I can be my authentic self. I can be me and we still get along and we're still okay. And you actually might enjoy me a lot more than having to be this person that you think I should be, or well, not even you think I should be, who I think that you need me to be. Um, and it's a lot of pressure.
It
Women
is.
just, that's so much pressure. Like who wants to walk around well, I guess I did it, but who wants to just not be themselves? Like, it's just so much more relaxing and a peace of mind when you really can just be yourself. I can be and I think that that's compromise
Yeah.
because you do gotta compromise. Can't be you can be yourself, and I'm not saying not be yourself, but you do have to compromise at some point, sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think you can compromise and still be authentic.
Compromising should not be giving yourself away. Compromising should be, okay, how do we reach a point where both parties can get a little bit of satisfaction in a balanced way, and we can both, while we're talking about that give and take, that take
Yeah,
part does not destroy the other person.
I agree. Yep,
And
yep.
I want to put that out there because I do think I'm so glad you said that because I do think sometimes we think compromise and all we're doing is completely giving ourselves away and then we're calling that compromise. That is not a compromise. A compromise should not feel like it's destroying you.
It should not.
That is a
You should
conquering.
feel
That is not a compromise. That is a conquering. And I
that's a
think,
takeover.
look, and I think even as we're talking about like getting to authenticity, being your true self, because sometimes we say that and people are like, okay, but what does that mean? How do I be my true self? A lot of reflection and a lot of accountability. I know for me, my growth and healing came from accountability. I was so good at not taking accountability. The way I could maneuver and make it anybody else's fault was beautiful. Shout out to my father. Um, it was such
She said, "Why?" Was perfect.
shoot. Shout out to my fathers. But I that was huge for me. And so a lot of it has to be like I had this conversation recently with a friend who was just like, talk about me on the podcast. And I was just like, why? Why are you like this? And I was like, they were very much on like, why do you still show that version of yourself on the podcast? And like, why don't you
Mhm.
show a more polished version of yourself? And I was like, because one, a big part of healing for me was being again authentic to myself and be honest with myself about my flaws. Again, I said I grew up a pastor's kid, so a lot of pressure to not have flaws in my
Yeah,
in my upbringing, a lot of pressures to present myself a certain way. And so a lot of my healing came from breaking free of that and embracing my flaws, embracing that I am a person with flaws and that's working on them and processing them, and that I did not need to present myself in a crinkle free way. There's some
yeah,
crinkles. Okay. There are some scars. And I always tell myself if I ever put myself out there in the world to be heard, to be seen, one, you ain't gonna be able to use nothing against me because I'm very honest about who I am and where I've been. I
open
never
book over
want to
here,
come
baby.
I never want to come across as like, oh, this certain type of way. I might come across a certain way professionally because I have to be professional. When I'm in
That
spaces
part.
where I get to control and I'm like, this is supposed to be a place of authenticity, then
Mhm.
I'm going to show up in that authenticity. And for me, a lot of that was, again, taking some accountability. And some of that accountability came from reflection, really asking myself the whys, really asking myself, where is this coming from? And being honest, not shifting the blame, not being like, well, because this person did that, because da 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 da, because I'm scared.
Yeah.
Because
I
in the
got
day,
you.
I do that because I'm scared. And this is how I hide from being scared. And this is how I mask that scaredness, and this is how I blah blah blah. So I would say doing a lot of reflection can be a part of that authenticity. For some of us, it can be taking that accountability for finding true self. Do you have any other suggestions for finding self and being more authentic to yourself?
I think for me, I'm a very accountable person.
Mm,
I think I'm probably too accountable to a fault. I'm quick to apologize. I'm quick to be like, it's my fault. If I'm always big on if I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. Like
mhm,
point blank, period. I'm really, really big on that. And I think at some point I had to almost say like, fuck your feelings. Like
mhm,
I have to save a little bit for myself because that drains me. So I think you have to I just think you honestly just have to know your boundaries and know
mhm,
and set those boundaries and stick to them.
mhm.
Because once you start breaking those boundaries, I think you give a part of yourself to that person and it becomes draining. And at this big age, I don't want to be drained.
Mhm.
I want a very understanding relationship. And I always said I need somebody who understands how I am and how I was raised.
Yeah.
And
And I do want to
that's
throw
just
that out there because I do think that sometimes, when it comes to boundary and stuff, a lot of times when you are a person who's a big caregiver, when you're a person who's a big, like, I take care of folks, I will bend
Mhm.
my will to make sure other people are okay, even at my detriment. You get praised for it. You're told you're a caregiver, and it's a good thing. And it gets
0 stars.
promoted in such a way that a lot of times we don't realize how horrible and bad it is for us until we are on the brink of things, because society
Mhm.
promotes it. You're a woman. You're supposed to care. You're supposed to be loving.
Mhm.
You're supposed to be all these things. And so I love that you said that. Boundaries are not a bad thing. Boundaries is not a bad word. No is not a bad word. And I agree with you that that is a big part of finding your true self, is that you need to set some boundaries so you can even do that.
Yeah, definitely. You have to set some boundaries because you will get lost in this world and it will eat you alive. I never knew what that meant when I was younger, but I definitely understand that now. Like, you will get out here and they will eat you. Like, no. And once I feel like, especially sometimes men, you have to be aware of the leeches because it can get ugly out here. So
Yeah.
once you start setting boundaries and setting some expectations for yourself, you can learn how to navigate through this life. You really
Yeah.
can. It's not life doesn't have to be what you see on TV or what you see on social media or what you think your parents expect of you for real, because you are who you are. How you was raised does not have to be who you are or who you
Yeah.
see yourself as. You can be somebody totally different. You can
Yeah.
live up to the expectations. That's fine. And I think my mom telling me I've done everything she wanted me to do as far as going to school. I got 2 degrees. I did everything I needed to do. And at 30, I found myself in a whole nother realm trying to figure out who I was in, doing a whole rediscovery.
Yeah.
And that was nice for me. And I'm glad that I do have a mother who allowed me the space to figure it out. for me to be my authentic self and be the nice person I am. Okay.
Yeah, recognize when things feel off to you. Sit in that. Learn what triggers you. Learn what you need to feel comfortable, and then stay true with that.
Yes.
Now, guys, that is all we have for today's discussion. We hope you enjoy. You can follow us on Instagram at SheWolfAlchemy. I'm gonna say TikTok, y'all. TikTok been playing with me. TikTok been playing with me, so I haven't been posting videos. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. I'm looking crazy right now, so I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna get clips of this, but you can follow us on TikTok at SheWolfAlchemy Podcast. Leave us a review wherever you are listening. Please leave us a review with some words. We ask that you like, share, and we will be with you guys with a new episode in 2 weeks.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.